Imagine a world where the fastest racers aren't trained on tracks, but in the confines of their homes, gripping virtual steering wheels. With no scent of burning rubber or danger of spinning out of control, they master every curve, every shift, and every straightaway in a pixel-perfect simulation. But what happens when these sim drivers step into a real car on a real track, where the stakes are life and death? Could they compete with seasoned professionals who've spent years battling the forces of physics and fear? This question has haunted both racing enthusiasts and sim drivers alike, and today we'll uncover whether sim drivers are truly capable of achieving speed in real racing, or if the virtual world is just a shadow of the real thing. 10. From pixels to pavement, what's different? At first glance, racing simulations and real-world racing share many similarities. The need for split-second decisions, understanding the track, and handling the car's dynamics. But the leap from simulation to real life is bigger than many expect. In a sim, you're only tasked with inputs, accelerating, braking, steering. But the actual feel of those inputs is much more muted. There's no physical sensation of G-forces pulling at your body, or the vibration of the track under your tires. Real racing introduces fear, fatigue, and an overwhelming sensory experience that simulations can only replicate to a certain extent. The question remains, can a driver trained in a simulation handle these raw, visceral experiences and still maintain top speeds? 9. The learning curve. Sim to real car handling. A major hurdle sim racers face is the difference in car handling. While high-end simulations such as iRacing and Assetto Corsa offer hyper-realistic physics engines, there's still a noticeable gap when compared to real life. Every car has its unique quirks in terms of weight distribution, suspension, and aerodynamics. In a real car, drivers can feel the weight shift through a corner, something that can't be fully mimicked in a sim. When transitioning from virtual to reality, sim drivers often struggle with learning the true limits of grip and how a real car behaves under extreme conditions. While sim racing can teach fundamental skills, understanding the finer nuances of real-world car handling remains a significant challenge. 8. The psychological factor. Facing fear. One of the most significant differences between sim and real racing is the psychological impact of danger. In a sim, the worst that can happen is a crash that resets the race. In real life, mistakes can be deadly. Professional race car drivers constantly manage fear. The fear of losing control at high speeds, the fear of crashing, and the fear of injury. For a sim racer stepping into the real world, this fear is often an unexpected and powerful adversary. Staying cool under the pressure of life-threatening situations is something only experience can teach. The mental game in real racing is as challenging, if not more so, than the physical aspect. This often becomes a defining factor that separates sim drivers from real-world racers. 7. The success stories, breaking the barrier. Despite the challenges, there are several notable examples of sim drivers who have made successful transitions to real-world racing. The most famous example is Jan Mardenborough, who won Nissan's GT Academy, a competition designed to turn sim racers into real-life professionals. Mardenborough went from playing Gran Turismo in his bedroom to competing in professional motorsport events, proving that virtual racing skills can translate into real-world success. Other sim racers like Rudy Van Buren and James Baldwin have also achieved similar feats, moving from simulators to real cars. These success stories provide proof that, under the right conditions, sim drivers can not only compete but thrive on the track. However, these cases remain the exception rather than the rule, raising the question of what sets these individuals apart. 6. The role of simulations in real-world training. One of the reasons sim drivers have been able to achieve success in real racing is that professional racing teams now use simulators for training. In fact, simulators are an integral part of many Formula One teams' preparation routines. Drivers use simulators to learn tracks, test setups, and refine their driving techniques. This technology has become so advanced that the line between simulation and reality continues to blur. However, the difference lies in the fact that professional racers already have real-world experience and use simulators as a supplement to their training, whereas sim drivers are attempting to use simulators as their primary form of learning. Simulators offer valuable training opportunities, but they still lack the real-world experience of handling a physical car. 5. Racing instincts. Can sim drivers develop them? One crucial element of real-world racing is instinct, the ability to make split-second decisions when faced with unpredictable situations. In a sim, the track and car behave consistently. But in real racing, factors such as weather conditions, track temperature, and other drivers' unpredictable movements come into play. Developing instincts to handle these variables takes years of real-world practice. Sim drivers, while well-versed in track memorization and car dynamics, often lack this racing instinct that only comes with on-track experience. The question remains, can these instincts be developed solely through simulations, or does it take real-life racing to hone this skill? 4. Physical fitness, the overlooked challenge. One of the most overlooked aspects of real-world racing is the physical toll it takes on a driver. Sim drivers sit comfortably in their gaming chairs for hours on end, while real-world drivers endure extreme physical stress during a race. G-forces, high temperatures, and the sheer physicality of controlling a race car at top speed require peak physical fitness. Formula One drivers, for instance, undergo rigorous physical training to ensure they can withstand the intense forces experienced in a race. Sim drivers who attempt to transition to real racing often find that their physical endurance and strength are not up to par. Without this level of fitness, achieving speed and consistency in real racing becomes an uphill battle. 3. Track familiarity, real versus virtual. Sim racing offers an incredible advantage in terms of track memorization. Many virtual platforms provide laser-scanned versions of real-world tracks, down to the millimeter. This allows sim drivers to learn every curve and bump of famous circuits like Nürburgring or Spa-Francorchamps before ever stepping foot on them. However, while sim drivers can gain a mental map of the track, the actual feeling of driving it is much different. Track conditions can vary drastically in real life, whether it's due to weather, tire degradation, or changes in track temperature. Virtual racing can help with the memorization, but the real challenge comes when a sim driver has to adapt to ever-changing conditions in the real world. 2. The reality check. From dreams to real racing. While the idea of a sim driver making a seamless transition to real racing is exciting, the reality is often more sobering. Most sim drivers who attempt the leap struggle with the overwhelming differences between the two worlds. From the physical and mental challenges to the technical aspects of car handling, real racing exposes the gaps that simulations can't quite fill. Those who succeed in making the transition often have additional training or support systems in place, such as coaching from professional drivers or extensive practice in real-world vehicles. The reality check is that while sim racing offers an incredible foundation, it is not a one-stop shop for developing a full-fledged racing career. 1. The verdict. Can sim drivers achieve speed in real racing? So, can sim drivers achieve speed in real racing? The answer is yes, but with significant caveats. Sim racing can teach drivers about car dynamics, track memorization, and racing strategy. But to achieve true speed and consistency in real racing, drivers need to overcome several hurdles: fear, physical fitness, real-world car handling, and the unpredictable nature of track conditions. Simulators are fantastic training tools, but they are only part of the equation. For sim drivers dreaming of real-world success, the key is bridging the gap between the virtual and the real, combining the knowledge gained in simulations with hands-on experience on the track. Only then can they hope to achieve the speed and success that real racing demands. If you found this breakdown of the sim racing world fascinating, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive into the world of motorsports. Whether it's real-life racing insights or the virtual racing realm, we'll keep bringing you thrilling content.